Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Joseph Novichkov, Senior Trading Manager with GDM. Right after the Easter holidays, first the working day of the week. Of course, it wasn't the first trading day of the week because yesterday most of the markets were working as well, as we saw that the dollar was pulling away from 5 months low versus the yen, which actually was set yesterday. And of course, early on Tuesday, which of course followed comments from US Treasury Secretary and of course higher debt yields given the bruised greenback and of course some breathing space that has been given in the recent few sessions. Of course, with the US President Donald Trump and his view that the dollar's strength is too high right now in the short term, of course it was hurting the exports. But of course he also saw the currency strength over the long term as positive. That is also a good thing for the greenback. In the short term, of course, to the midterm, still the dollar was not expected to go much higher. And of course, the United States begins a first dialogue with, of course, Japan later on Tuesday, which is, of course, bringing another a set of concerns that the United States could take through a harsher tone or a bit tougher negotiations with Japan, which of course has been a worry that of Trump's complaints that it has some countries with of course significant worries over what would happen in the aforementioned meeting. However, right now, what we're looking from the fundamental state, before we actually move for some technicals, we're looking at building permits today for the United States. Also, we're looking at the housing starts. This is also important inflationary indicator, looking at the industrial production and capacity utilization later on throughout the United States session. Also, for the crude oil, we're looking at the American Petroleum Institute's weekly bulletin. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, we're looking at the Consumer Price Index and trade balance for the European Union, and also looking for trade balance, imports and exports for Japan as well, which is of course foreign investments also, which is of course a very important data given the today's meeting between US and Japan. On Thursday, the usual US weekly job data continuing initial jobless claims. We're looking at the consumer confidence out of the European Union, and of course a very important announcement throughout a speech from Governor Carney from the Bank of England. Also, we're looking at some really important speeches out from the United States. We're looking at a speech from the US Secretary as well. On Friday, however, also we're going to finish the week with some strong fundamental data, of course, some high volatility data from the European Union. We're looking at the current account and, of course, market services purchasing managers index throughout the day, retail sales out of the UK, and, of course, manufacturing PMI out of the United States, and, of course, existing home sales. Along with that, Baker Hughes oil rig count. And that, of course, along the way, let's have a look here on the chart how the markets are pricing in after the Easter holidays. Looking at the euro dollar, not much of a change there after last week's positive run up. Right now it's still sidelining, of course. Yesterday it was higher against the dollar, reaching as high as 1.066. But of course the supportive strength of the 200 exponential moving average, of course, along the way with the 50 exponential moving average, could give another boost on the shared currency versus the dollar. However, given the turmoil on the political overview from within the European Union, and of course given the geopolitical risk around the world, which of course is also pushing the US dollar down, the currency pair could actually keep sidelining for the moment. Stronger pound, of course, versus the dollar on a technical buying. So therefore, should the pair, of course, set a support level at the 1.26, of course, inside would be 1.2640 and of course 1.27 in the near term. Dollar yen, however, it was the yen was a great performer yesterday, extending as high as 108 versus the dollar. And of course, it retraced back down to 109 against the dollar after, of course, we saw some comments from the U.S. Treasury Secretary, and of course the higher bond yields also, which pushed the dollar a little bit higher on yesterday's trading. Crude oil prices were lower, mostly on the failed missile launch from North Korea. Basically, that was a test, which the projectile, of course, blew up immediately after the fire. And of course, oil was down to the 200 exponential moving average. Meanwhile, of course, gold prices have retraced slightly down to test the support at 1282, which is, of course, a key support area before the commodity could actually test the 1272, which could actually meet with the 200 exponential. Right now, of course, standing on the sidelines after we have achieved our final objective at 1294. That was on Monday, on yesterday's session. Of course, also our full targets, 3 targets achieved on dollar yen. Therefore, we're looking at some continuous sideways direction. Of course, meanwhile, we're looking for some geopolitical clues on whether the tensions between US North Korea and, of course, US Syria would actually continue, and with what kind of strength. Therefore, for now, we are going to stick to the sidelines, see what the technical side of the market can tell us for the future direction of our main currency pairs and commodities. And of course, we'll keep you up to date. And I'll see you again tomorrow, same time. Thank you for watching. See you then. Bye-bye.